Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Gaur Pimanande. Jayam Vishupad Paramahamsa Tri Rajgachaja Stotra Satta Sri Simad His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charandarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandi Biti Founder Charya's Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Samavata Bhakti Vrinda Ki Harinama Sankirtan Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Pimanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Taksuranmilitam jena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sagradatam Sahagana Ragunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanditam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kansana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyaiva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Shaiva Narotamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiravet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayasa badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed and practically to nil. And a loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, whose praise with the transcendental songs becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nisreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasthayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam tvagom langayate girim Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam class. We are continuing Canto number 1, chapter 8, text, chapter entitled Prayers of Prayers by Queen Kunti. And let's see. Yesterday we read text number 5. So today is text number 6. Ya Jitva Ya Jayitva Ashvamedai Tam Tribhir Uttama Kalpakai Tad Yashaha Pavanam Dikshu Shata Manyor Ivatanot Yajayit Vashmade Yajayit Vash Mada Mad Yajayit Shva Medais Tam Yajayit Vash Vamedais Tam Yajayit Vash Vamedais Tam Tribir Uttama Kal Pakai Tribhir Uttama Kal Pakai Tad Yasha Pavanam Dikshu Shata Manyor Ivatanot Shata Manyor Ivatanot Yajayit Vashvamedais Tam Tribhir Uttamakalpakai Tadyasha Pavanam Dikshu Shatamanyor Ivatanot Yajayit Vashvamedaistam Tribhir Uttamakalpakai Tadyasha Pavanam Dikshu Shatamanyor Ivatanot Yajayit Vashvamedaistam Tribhir Uttamakalpakai Tadyasha Pavanam Dikshu Shatamanyor Ivatanot Yajayit Vaishvamedaistam Tibiruttamakalpakai Tadyasha Pavanam Dikshu Shatamanyor Ivatanot Yajayit Vaishvamedaistam Tribhirutamakalpakai Tadyasha Pavanam Dikshu Shatamanyorivatanot Yajayitva by performing Ashvamedhai Ashvamedhai Jagya. Okay, actually, okay. Jagya in which a horse is sacrificed. Tam, him, King Yudhishthira. Tribihi, three. Uttama, best. Kalpakai, supplied with proper ingredients and performed by able priests. Tat, that. Yashaha, fame. Pavanam, virtuous. Dikshu, all directions. Shatamanyo, Indra, who performed 100 such sacrifices. Eva, like. Atanot, spread. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Lord Sri Krishna caused 3 well-performed Ashvamedha Jagyas, horse sacrifices, to be conducted by Maharaj Yudhishthira, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices. Kindly repeat after me. Lord Sri Krishna caused 3 well-performed Ashvamedha Jagyas, horse sacrifices, to be conducted by Maharaj Yudhishthira, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices. Hare Krishna. Purport. This is something like the preface of the performances of Ashvamedha Yajna by Maharaj Yudhishthira. The comparison of Maharaj Yudhishthira to the King of Heaven is significant. The King of Heaven is thousands and thousands of times greater than Maharaj Yudhishthira in opulence. Yet, the fame of Maharaj Yudhishthira was not less. The reason is that Maharaj Yudhishthira was a pure devotee of the Lord, and by his grace only was King Yudhishthira on the level of the King of Heaven, even though he performed only 3 Jagyas, whereas the King of Heaven performed hundreds. That is the prerogative of the devotee of the Lord. The Lord is equal to everyone, but a devotee of the Lord is more glorified because he is always in touch with the All-Great. The sun rays are equally distributed, but still there are some places which are always dark. that is not due to the sun, but to the receptive power. Similarly, those who are cent% devotees of the Lord get the full-fledged mercy of the Lord, which is always equally distributed everywhere. Translation again. Lord Sri Krishna caused 3 well-performed Ashwamedha Yajnas, horse sacrifices, to be conducted by Maharaj Yudhishthira, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices. So 2 main points are being referred to here. The subject matter of performance of Ashwamedha Yajnas by Maharaj Yudhishthir on the one hand, and the other topic of importance or interest is the uh, the glory of King Yudhishthir being compared to that of the King of Heaven. Mm. So Ashwamedha Yajnas is sometimes controversial subject matter. There are different types of yajnas or sacrifices. This specifically is referred to as horse sacrifice. So, we naturally, uh, because sometimes people will be critical, how how is it that in a culture where nonviolence is advocated and promoted and held in great esteem, that you allow the killing of animals? Mm. And there are various uh, explanations that are given by our acharyas. Mm. One of the important explanations has to do with it is not that animals were uh, simply killed for the purpose of um, very often people who kill animals, they will be eating those animals. And our acharyas explain that actually uh, a such sacrifices, number one, were performed by extremely qualified brahmanas who had the ability to chant mantras that would actually give new life to that particular animal. And because, as mentioned a few minutes ago, nonviolence and the foremost quality of those who actually follow Vedic culture is to prevent causing harm and suffering to others, then it's not imaginable that that in such horse sacrifice the animal would suffer. You see, um, now this uh, that is why, for example, there is injunction that in this present age of Kali, such sacrifices are forbidden because there are no such qualified. Those who are not knowing and understanding Vedic culture will not so easily be able to accept these explanations because they cannot imagine the kind of power, just like we were discussing, like this whole Brahmastra weapon, which was like is like a nuclear weapon compared to a nuclear weapon, and this is simply uh, performed by the sound vibration by chanting mantra. Uh, so material mantras are extremely powerful. And in the Vedic culture, the science of sound vibration was extremely developed, very advanced. It's kind of like you could call it subtle technology. When we speak of technology in modern day society, we think of machines, we think of things that are material. Whereas in the Vedic culture, uh, this science, uh, it's, although material, was highly developed and very, very subtle. Now, in the performance of yajnas, we're talking not simply of material sound vibration, we're talking about spiritual sound vibration, which is of another uh, dimension, totally different level. So those who were trained in this knowledge and this science, those who were trained, that was one of the very important activities for those who receive this type of uh, education, and that was in Gurukul. they they had they became actually very powerful. They could curse. One could curse actually simply by mantra, just like Parikshit Maharaj was cursed by the Brahmana boy. So that means that even from a very young age, after receiving this type of training, one actually became very powerful. So we should not uh, actually in there's debate on this subject matter, and some research has indicated that actually uh, there were no such sacrifices where we think or visualize an animal being slaughtered. There was there was allowance actually in the Shastra for that's another aspect which is not exactly, well, it's also connected with Jagya because um, there is allowance for those who are addicted to meat eating to actually offer in sacrifice, not just in terms of what we see today in terms of slaughterhouse, but offer in sacrifice an animal. Normally, it would be goat, even that is being practiced today. But the actual practice is not properly followed according to injunction of Shastra, um, and that is why, again, in Kali Yuga, these types of we could say animal sacrifice. I mean, there used to be human sacrifice. which is even more, we could say, controversial and more objectionable. So we can, when we study uh, and understand the high level of advanced consciousness that was there, which we have seen actually in the last chapter, for example, this whole consideration in terms of how to punish or how to not punish Ashvatthama for having killed innocent boys. So we can see the way individuals like Arjuna and Draupadi, Krishna, and others, how they were thinking is a very elevated consciousness. So the subject matter of um, Ashvatthama Yajna is needs to be understood in proper uh, context. Mm. The second point, which is especially being elaborated upon more by Srila Prabhupada, is that King of Heaven, demigods are generally looked upon, and certain demigods in particular, as much more elevated or in advanced than, let's say, ordinary human beings. But Yudhisthira Maharaj was not an ordinary human being. When one actually becomes a devotee of the Lord, when one becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, like Yudhisthira Maharaj, then he becomes uh, much more elevated and much more glorious than ordinary, let's say, demigods. And this is being explained here by Srila Prabhupada. Um, Indra is uh, glorified for having performed so many of these yajnas because they have also qualified uh, priests or brahmanas in the heavenly planets. And although he performed hundreds of such yajnas, Yudhisthira Maharaj only performed three, is glorified more than Lord Indra. And that is uh, primarily because he is a uh, fully surrendered devotee of the Lord. Mm. So, although demigods are exalted personalities, but one who is a pure devotee of the Lord is even more exalted. So this is being explained here by Srila Prabhupada. And also the point about, this kind of uh, analogy which is being given here. The sun is equally distributing its rays uh, throughout the world, mm, except for today. Uh, when the sun rays are uh, available, when there are no clouds, then everyone gets equal opportunity. But if one chooses to remain inside the house, he won't get the benefit of the sun rays. So those who take advantage, that means persons who are fortunate to come in contact with the knowledge. In other words, knowledge, Vedic knowledge is available for everyone, and one has to uh, take advantage of, just like in our preaching activities, we distribute so many books, we invite so many people to our temples, but it's up to every individual to take advantage or not. of that opportunity. Mm. So it's not that the Lord favors certain, it's just like the sun doesn't favor particular individuals. Whoever takes advantage of the sun rays, he gets the benefit. Similarly, the Lord's mercy is available for everyone, and the Lord will naturally mm, be more inclined to reciprocate with those who actually take advantage of the knowledge that is there in the Vedic literatures. And in this way, uh, as Prabhupada mentions here, the Lord is equal to everyone, but a devotee of the Lord is more glorified because he is always in touch with the all great personality of Godhead. Mm. So these are a few points that are there. Mm. Any thoughts or comments on this?
Everyone, because the main person who is glorified in the Srimad Bhagavatam is Sri Krishna, and the main character which is glorified in Krishna is his kindness, his readiness to distribute his mercy.
His kindness and readiness to distribute his
Readiness to
mercy.
distribute means his empathy.
Yes.
And here we see that according to the circumstances, also Yudhishthira was spotless because of he was in this controversial situation. Many persons, like others who are relative to the party which lose, or others who are relative to the party who win, but their relatives died, and they think it's not justice for them because they lose so many important persons. So may it was Yudhishthir who would be blasphemed for that. So the people are like common people are not so bold to understand the deep meanings why Yudhishthir had to fight and why Yudhishthir have to uh, decide different ways. But Krishna understood that he have to protect Yudhishthir's fame, and he was thinking what to do. The war is over, people are lamenting, but later they will start again a new life, and they will think who caused them these seemingly different lifestyle. They are poor in health. They are without the relatives who took part in this battle. So he started to think what to do, and he found out that in this age, someone making really nice, successful yoga, which is well known, they will change the people's mind. They will respect that person. That will be the last impression for people, not the war. But after the war, they have a nice opportunity to take part of this yoga. They get gifts, they get nice dealings, and they can come closer to Yudhishthira Maharaj to know him. And the same way,
Yeah.
when Krishna came again, because out of his mercy he saw that after he was here as Krishna, not many persons change their life, their mind. Not many persons become convinced that yeah, Krishna consciousness would be the ultimate solution. So he came again and again. He was in trouble to convince people that they should just have to follow him. It's so he took sannyas.
Right.
He went back to the varnashram dharma
Mm.
because people are fond of varnashram. At least they fond for some position, some some kind of fame which is coming from the position of varnashram, uh, but they accept, and then he becomes sannyasi. Because as a sannyasi, many other persons who would criticize him as a supreme person, who was who was envy of him,
Mm.
just can just the custom says have to bow down to the sannyasi. They get some benefit. They get some relief from their sinful reactions, and they can start to think more clearly what is the real goal of the life. So many persons was there also around Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna,
Right.
and they could get some little mercy, as you say. They have to show something for God. At
Mm.
least have to bow down to his representative as a sannyasi,
Right.
and then the son Krishna can give a lot of mercy. And I am thinking that in our case, the most important Sankirta Yagya, most of the Yagya is the Sankirta Yagya, the congregational chanting.
Yes.
And that was what Prabhupada found out how to protect devotees who become pure devotees after following him, but coming to the east, coming to India, people just saw they are Westerners, they eat meat, they have so many sinful, they are not sadhus. But Prabhupada arranged big Harinam Sankirtan every day on the street of India, big cities. And then by that way, people convinced that, oh, they are sadhus.
Right.
Yeah. So that was also Prabhupada's way to convince people that who are my followers, they are sadhu. And by the Sankirta Yagya, that means we don't have to make big efforts like big temples. Of course, we do it. But in the big temples, what we convince people is the Harinam Sankirtan, not the temple itself, not the gorgos,
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
anything. So that's I think that we have to understand that the Son of Krishna will appear in our heart when we do Harinam Sankirtan heartfully.
Yes.
And maybe we are just a few person together. Krishna will don't mind. Krishna will not mind. We don't have loudspeakers. We don't have big instruments. He will mind if we heartfully put ourselves into that little Harinam Sankirtan, and then he will appear.
um, yeah. Interesting point. Actually, this is in the text itself. For example, that Lord Sri Krishna
Yeah,
caused three well performed Ashwamedha Yagyas. That means that uh, yes, uh, after the Battle of Kurukshetra, it was an extremely devastating period, um, as you point out, because on both sides, actually, uh, everyone uh, lost. Wars are of that nature, of course. Um, whether it's the winning side or the losing side, both sides, so many people are killed, isn't it? And it brings so much of sorrow and suffering because different members of families have died. So whether it's the Lord Himself, like in this case, who is present, physically present, or whether it's acharyas who are uh, having the same mission and purpose to actually how to elevate people, how to bring people out of the inevitable distressful situation that the material world causes all the time. Material world is described as mrityuloka, place of death, place of suffering. So how to mitigate this suffering, how to bring living entities to a situation or condition where they will um, be relieved of that suffering. And in this particular case, 5,000 years ago, when there were still qualified brahmanas, this particular activity of Ashwamedha Yajna was inspired by Lord Krishna to Yudhishthira Maharaj. And as you rightly mentioned, such it's like generally people like to attend um, jagyas and where many people come together because simply the hearing of transcendental sound vibration, which whenever there's jagya, there's all kinds of mantras that are chanted by the, so that creates a very favorable and auspicious atmosphere, the chanting of mantras, and of course linking with what is presently the situation and what is presently the main jagya, the Sankirtan jagya, which you're connecting also, is meant to actually bring ultimately relief to people from the otherwise, practically speaking, especially in Kali Yuga, unbearable type of suffering that is there simply due to the uh, inauspiciousness which is there due to prevalent sinful activities that are Kali Yuga is that age where the most sinful conditioned souls actually take take birth. It's like the winter season. Usually winter, especially in the Western countries, are like the most difficult because of severe weather conditions, etc., like that. So Kali Yuga is of that nature, and so yes, those either the Lord Himself or His representatives and the devotees in general. The more one is, we could say, advanced in consciousness, that will be his primary, we could say, meditation. How to alleviate, how to alleviate the suffering of the common masses of people, and and there are different ways. Of course, the most important, most powerful way is the Sankirtan Jagya, the chanting of the holy name, and which is primarily, we could say, on the spiritual or transcendental level, and simultaneously the process and method which is there in the Shastra and which is also meant for Kali Yuga, although there is sometimes debate on this. But the other level to bring, to alleviate and reduce uh, and actually completely eradicate eventually, if properly done, is by introducing Varnashrama system. Because although something material, it helps one of the primary, we could say, objectives of Varnashrama, which is involving a whole uh, way of living, a whole lifestyle, is to bring people to the mode of goodness. When we are not situated in the mode, what's the symptom of the mode of goodness? Uh, Evam prasana manaso. The mind is prasana. Brahma bhuta prasanatma nasojati nakanchati. As explained in the Bhagavad Gita, those who are actually on this level of peaceful mind, basic realization, basic self-realization, then nasojati nakanchati. They're not disturbed by what happened in the past, and they're not hankering for what may come in the future. So that is the primary, um, we could say, business of, of saintly persons, and to bring uh, a relief to the suffering humanity through through this we could say, uh, simultaneous dual uh, practice of spiritual activity in terms especially of the chanting of the holy name, number one, and secondly, to live our lives in such a way that we will uh, be living in harmony with one another, living in harmony with Mother Nature as well, and developing when we are situated in the mode of goodness, then we develop more easily qualities which are appreciated by others. And by being situated in the mode of goodness also, as this verse in the Bhagavatam nicely explains, evam prasana manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha. One can actually, being situated in that peaceful uh, mode of goodness, can take up more easily activities of devotional service, which will, in due course of time, bring one to the level of actual transcendence, means above simply material goodness, uh, to the level of pure goodness. And then it is at that level, especially, that one interacts. It's at that level that Krishna actually takes notice and begins to reciprocate more and more, actually, with his surrendered devotees. And ultimately, that is the goal for all of us, to reconnect, to re-establish, to revive our our relationship. Ultimately, it's all based uh, on relationship, reestablishing our eternal identity, our eternal relationship with Krishna. So that means that for each and every one of us, the more we understand this point, then the more we will try to assist our Vaishnavacharyas in actually in in alleviating, yeah, the uh, the suffering that is there, that is constantly there. Yeah.
And what do you think? The Kshatriyas, the duty of the Kshatriyas to protect this Daivi part of the Varnashram means they have to rule such a way that this Harinam Sankirtan would flourish.
Yes, yes. The Kshatriyas, actual Vedic kings, Vedic leaders, because they are well versed in the principles of Dharma. So not only are they physically providing protection in various ways, but they are also protecting Dharma by facilitating, by arranging, um, we could say, Sankirtan Jagya. Yeah, because that is the most important activity, where by introducing uh, large scale festivals, you know, it's like in the West at this time of the year. I guess it started last month. Now we're in July. And normally in June, maybe even the end of May, whenever it gets warm enough, for 3 or 4 months, they have what they call Festival of India. They they've been doing it for decades, actually, very well organized, and they have huge van where they take actually they dismantle and put together at different places rot carts. One devotee actually from Montreal, who was a very good carpenter, made three rots that have, and he himself is a good driver as well. So I'm not sure if he's still doing it, but this was ongoing for many, many years. And they go, it's all pre-arranged. A booking is there, and it's announced like months ahead of time also. Okay, this week on this date for 3 days, the Festival of India will be in your city, and it's organized by devotees. So naturally, when they start putting up the pandal, it's like it's very colorful pandals and all kinds of activities are there. Everyone likes festivals, naturally. So yes, it's one of the important responsibilities of Kshatriya kings, and for that matter, any ruler who is understanding the basic, um, the basics of the Vedic culture, um, to facilitate and to arrange and to promote such types of gatherings, such types of festivals where people can come, can hear the holy name, can take prasadam, can associate with one another. And that's an important feature or aspect as well, which will bring immense Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, which will bring immense relief actually to the people in general. Will because in these festivals also there is always some pandal where people are explaining the philosophy. There's so many different booths that are there, um, illustrating in picture form also. There's so many different ways in which people can come to know about the basic philosophy. We could say the philosophy of life that we call Krishna consciousness. And in this way, I mean, every year in these festivals that are being performed, not only, of course, in North America and in so many countries, uh, this is, of course, primarily being arranged by our devotees. Um, and whenever governments and leaders around the world will be more understanding how important this is and how beneficial it is for the common people, they will be supporting even more, more so. Where is everyone coming from?
We stay in Kolkata and Hyderabad, probably.
Hyderabad. Oh, okay. Hyderabad and Calcutta. Okay, welcome. Yeah. So we are just at the tail end of our Srimad Bhagavatam class, where we have in this particular section, it is the pastime after the battle of Kurukshetra, which which brought a lot of pain and suffering, of course, because so many people died during the battle of Kurukshetra. Of course, there was a whole